a cool effect. Anyway, this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be creating a bunch of UI components, just the UI components, and we're going to put them out there as a freebie. So UI components, I'll show you. Then we're going to be try to use everything in auto layout. Make it everything in auto layout, and also make it responsive and reusable. That means since it's a freebie, others should be able to use it, right? And when you're creating a freebie in a UI kit, you want it. It's almost like you are designing for other people to, because you want to think about like how others are going to use this and how this might be helpful for others. So that's why the word reusable is key there. And making it free, making it a freebie. So put it in the Figma community and just like, so you can duplicate it. And then I think I'm going to be consistently updating this. So today is going to be the first version of this. And also use Blush. Yes, it's my own thing. Blush is like an illustration plugin that I actually, me and some friends and a team, we created, and a lot of artists have put their illustrations there. So one of the challenges is trying to use those illustrations, and also use basic styles and sketches. When I say sketches, I mean here are some sketches of the UI components that we're going to be using. And when I say basic styles, when I say this, I mean I already created a basic like a basic style guide with some textiles, some colors, some elevations, and also some elements like some components like a tab, an input, like a checkbox, radio boxes, tags, switches, buttons, nav, like all this stuff. We're not going to be using all of this. I think we're going to be using most of it. It's just going to be the text and the colors. We might use, we're going to be using buttons and maybe the checkboxes here and there in the inputs, but that's about it. And icons. So I also use material icons to create this, and all of these are already components. And that way we can just like make them reusable too. So all of this is already created. We're not going to create this. We're just going to create all the cool UI elements, okay? So all of this stuff is already actually available. There's a link in the description. If you want to follow along, you can go ahead and actually duplicate this file. It's already available on my personal profile on Figma. So anyway, let's get started. And before that, let's actually go to the comments. Let's see. Hey, Pablito, hello from Denver. Oh, that's so nice. So cool from Peru, everywhere. You are so cool. So cool to be joining us. I'm going to put my cool wig. Yes, this is my wig whenever I feel like I'm feeling cool myself because I'm surrounded by cool people. So let's get started right away. One of the things we're going to be using, like I was telling you, is the Blush plugin. I have already installed it. So I just open it, and then we can start like putting illustrations on top of it. And you know what? I'm going to use this one that is called Tuto Rico. Tuto Rico by Jorge Margarido. And it's one of my favorite collections right now. Is one of the newest collections in Blush. It has really dope stuff. So let's actually create this one. And as you can see, title, an image, and a button. Really easy, right? So, but there's some tricky stuff there. So let's use one of these images. Let's just put it there. One of these compositions. Let's actually just put a pink sitting. There's the pink character that is sitting. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, I think around there, and then I'm going to put some text. So this is going to be a heading, and apparently all of this is really big. What's going on? When I was doing all this stuff, I think I made it a really big image. So let's make it smaller, and let's actually press K. If you didn't know this, this is going to be a really cool trick. Press K, and then you can start scaling elements. Look at this. Oops, hold on. What happened? No, hold on. Press K, just K, and then look at that. You can scale stuff on Figma. If you didn't know that, Boom, you're already learning something new. Okay, so I'm going to add a heading. So this one is going to be like a heading. I added one that is called heading 4, around there. Then let's make the image a little bit small. Let's make it, actually, I was thinking that we should have a standard size around. And I was thinking that maybe 320 should be good. Around 320, so we have our image. Let's look back at our sketch. Our sketch was telling us heading, image, and a button. Pretty simple. Let's put an asset. We already have a button here, so let's just put it over here. Boom. Now we have these elements, and let's press Shift A to create an auto layout. And with this auto layout, let's actually go to 16 pixels. Let's actually add a little bit of padding around. Let's make it 8 pixels, and let's add a fill, a white fill. I already have some colors here. You're going to see that I created some ink colors, and it's 6 different colors from white all the way to black. Like I just like gray colors, like a gray scale that I'm going to be reusing. Let's add a couple, some rounded corners around. You know what? 8 pixels is not enough. Let's do 16, just so it has enough spacing there. Let's make this image a little bit smaller, just around there. And you know what? I'm going to add a little bit of auto layout to this image too. So I'm going to press Shift A. Let's go to our layers. And let's add a fill behind this. Let's add just a light gray. Look at that. That's looking so nice, right? And that's actually also adding a little bit of space in between the illustration and the frame. So, okay, now let's change this. I created some variants of this. So you can change it to primary, secondary, and let's keep it primary, and let's make it a little bit bigger. So the number 2 is a little bit bigger. I'm liking this. Let's, what else should we do? I think 8 pixels is good. Let's make our image, right now, everything is looking good, right? But I want this, right now it's hugging the contents, and I want it to be fixed width, and I want it to be 320, as we were saying. 320, and this one, what's going on there? That's not looking that great, right? So what we want is this, instead of hugging the containers on the width, we want it to be filling the container. And apparently, this one should also be filling the container on the width, and also filling the container on the top. That way, whenever like this is resized, see how the image just adapts to the size. That's pretty cool. So let's keep it at 288, maybe 200 height. That's around. I'm liking this. I'm liking this. The heading is there. Now, something that I like about the heading. What happens if it's a really long heading? Well, you're not gonna like that this happened, right? You want it to break into 2 lines. So what can we do? We can change this. Instead of hugging the contents, we want it to fill the container. Now that it's filling the container, whenever you reuse this, and if it's a long heading, don't worry, it's gonna break into 2 lines. Beautiful. So, okay, let's put it to heading. This is filling the container. We could also do the same here. We could say that this could also be filling the container. I'm going to put it on the left. My sketch is saying that it's not like that, but it is a variant that you can, a way that you can align it to. And by the way, I think 16 pixels here is too much. Let's do 8 pixels on the round corner. I'm liking this. Maybe we can add another one instead of being a heading. Maybe we want a paragraph that is a small paragraph. And maybe we want like a title and a subtitle, you know? And for that, we want to actually add an auto layout between these two. So I'm going to press Shift A, and I'm going to say that the space in between them is a little bit smaller. So now it's 4 pixels because we were applying 16 pixels between this and this and this. But between these two, since these are like their own grouping, you want an auto, like a spacing that is a little bit smaller so they feel like they are part of the same thing. That's one of those Gestalt principles. I don't remember the name of the Gestalt principle, but it's one of those. Subtitle, and then maybe this should be called title. And this is looking good. I think this one, we could use a lighter gray, so it looks nicer. Wow. We already have our first little card. So let's call this card, I don't know, what are we calling it? Card, let's card 01. We can get creative with the names later. And let's call this content, copy. Let's call this image. And why am I naming this? This is, again, remember one of the things, it has to be reusable. So others understand whenever they're using it, you want them to understand what the hell is this. You want to be tidy with your naming and everything. This could actually be called also image, image container, and then just the image inside it, and then copy container, and then just like the title and the subtitle inside it, and then the button. And that's it. Let's leave our button like that. That's okay. Now, that's it. We can create a component from this. Boom. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's go to the next one. The next one is a little bit different. See how this one had padding around this on the image. But on this one, we want the image to be all the way to the, what do you call it, like the edges, but still the content here has a little bit of padding. So we're going to, actually, I'm just going to reuse some of this stuff here. So I'm going to just like duplicate this stuff, and I'm going to duplicate this stuff over here. I'm a little bit lazy, I like reusing stuff. And since we had already named our stuff here, we had already given it like all the styling, let's just reuse it, Well, that's what we wanted over here, right? Like a title, subtitle. And actually here, the subtitle or the label is on the top. So really easily we can do that with auto layout. Let's just say that it goes to the top. Boom, baby. So now it's going to be called label, maybe. So now what we want to do is add an auto layout between these two sections. Press Shift A, let's add maybe 16 pixels between them. And now let's add some corner radius around it. And let's say that clips the content. Why? So it creates that rounded corner here, but it keeps that line, straight line here. So what is clipping the content is the whole chip, the whole container here. Now, let's add a little bit of a fill. Let's add a white fill. So you're going to see that, yo, Pablo, what's going on here, Pablo? I thought you were a good designer. What is going on here with that spacing? Don't worry about that. And by the way, actually, now that I'm thinking, I don't want space in between those elements, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to say 0 between these elements, and the spacing I'm going to apply to this element. To this element, I'm going to say 16 all around, baby. And now that it's all 16 all around, I can say that this, by the way, this should be filling the container, and this should also be filling the container, I guess. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. How beautiful is that? Let's this, instead of hugging the contents, we can say fixed width, and it's already 320. Let's just say it's 3 like that. This one is 322. This one is 320. The cool thing is that when you resize it, look at that. Beautiful. 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 I love this. I love when this happens because it's magic. The cool thing too here is that if this becomes a long text, see how the card just keeps growing and growing. It doesn't stop because we're using auto layout. We're putting our elements in a really concise way, and you can reuse them with whatever content. So, okay, this is card 02. Not the best naming. You're going to maybe, by the way, in the comments, tell me what should we call these? Card what? Card image top? Card image middle? I don't know. Okay, let's do another one. This one is going to be a little bit tricky because this one, we want the image to be like, it's like kind of like the background. Image is the background, and then floating inside, we have this, what do you call it? Like a title and a button that are just like floating in there. But I want to keep using the Blush plugin, so that's going to be a little bit tricky. Well, let's see if we can do this. Now I'm doubting myself, but we shouldn't doubt ourselves. Why? Because you can just press Command Z, and that's it. Command Z, you can undo stuff, and you can say, you know what? Not today, not today, and it's going to be fine. Okay, so let's see how we're going to do this. Again, let's take a look at our sketch again. Our sketch is telling us that we want the image in the background, and we want a title and a button floating. How are we going to do this? So first of all, I think that we want to create a frame inside a frame. Yeah, that sounds crazy, but we're going to do it. Hold on. So I'm going to press Command Option G to create a frame. And inside this frame, I'm going to put another, what do I call this? Another container with the text and this that is going to be floating. So this one, I'm actually going to lock it. And then now that it's locked, I'm going to put, actually, let me just copy this. Let me just copy this title because I am so lazy. You're seeing that I'm really lazy, right? You're seeing that I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to put stuff here. Let's copy this button here. Copy this button here. Let's just put the button here. Cool. So right now it looks like a mess, but it doesn't matter. Everything is going to be fine. So what we want to do is I'm going to create an auto layout with these two. Yes, I'm going to create an auto layout with these two. And with these two, I'm going to say that the spacing between them is automatic. And I'm going to say that all of these are 16 here. And let's actually put them also 16 here and then 16 over here. And now I'm going to say that it just fits, this is a fixed width and it's resizing with the rest of the elements. So we want to do the same with all of these. We want to say that all of this resizes. And now whenever this resizes, see, oh, mamma mia, look at this. Diosito Santo, ¿cómo lo hicimos? Eh? So what happened here? What the hell did just happen? So what we did is we actually had this same thing, but instead of having an auto layout between them, we just created two different auto layouts, and then we put them inside a frame, and then we added some pinning around it. And that pinning, like we are pinning it to everything, all the sides, top, left, right, and bottom. And that way, whenever it just like grows, it doesn't matter. And also the content. Let me call this content. The content container. The content container, it has a spacing between them of automatic. So the spacing between this and this is automatic because it's resizing. The spacing is just adapting to the size of the card. So instead of having a fixed, let's say 16 spacing, you don't want that. You want it to be automatic. And when you make it automatic, then it just like creates, like it tries to fill the space, the container. And it does that, and we're aligning it to the left. We could align it to the center, we could align it to the right, but let's just keep it to the left, okay? And by the way, like what's going on with this text that right now is just like doing that. And that's because it's a fixed width. We actually want to fill the container. So once it's filling the container, we can actually say like, hey, I want it to be like this. I want it to be in the center, or I want it to be to the left. Let's keep it to the left. Let's say that it fills the container. And it's also, let's say that this is aligned to the left, okay? Okay, cool. Because our design was like that. That's what our design was telling us. Now, I'm sure they're going to say, Pablo, but what happens with long text And then this text, what's going on, Pablo? This is not looking great, Pablo. Look at this. And I'm going to say, you are correct. That sucks. That sucks a lot. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say that this is actually 0, 0. And I'm going to resize it to the size of this. Boom. And then I'm going to put padding around it. Boom. You're not counting with that, right? And now I'm going to add a fill to it. I'm going to add a black fill. Yes, you're going to say, Pablo, you are a crazy person. I'm going to unlink it and I'm going to say that it's like a 30% black. Now that it's a 30% black, I'm going to change this to be white. Boom, baby. Boom, baby, boom. So that is one way of doing it. That is one way. Hopefully your titles actually look nice. This is a title that looks pretty nice. And it's going to look good with your illustration. So that is one way of doing it. The other way would have been potentially just the opposite, where instead of black, we could have used white. But it's okay. Okay, so 340, let's make it a 340, the height. There you go. And I'm liking this. I'm liking this. I think, I don't know if I already said this, but I'm liking this. Now, another thing we could have done is actually create a gradient. Instead of, whoa, do you hear that? Instead of this, let's create a gradient. Let's see, let's choose between these two, okay? Let me move the blush plugin over here. Let's say that is black to black, and one of them is the transparency all the way to 0. Let's put it over here, and then this one, maybe the transparency is 50%. That looks nice too. That could look nice. I think I prefer the one that was just solid. That's just me. But you have the option of selecting whatever you want, okay? By the way, we need to add a little bit of corner radius here. Clip the content. Were we doing 8 or 16? I think we're doing 8. Let's do 16. Now I'm feeling a little bit more friendly, more gracious, more, I don't know what you call it, with my things here. Let's call this with my corner radius. Let's call this cart 03. Boom. And let's actually now go to our comments and see what people are saying. Hey, your video is paused. Can only see your screen. Camera's frozen for everyone. Oh yeah, sometimes my camera is frozen. So let me go ahead and change it here. My head, oh my God, my face. There you go. I don't know why this sometimes happens. Technical difficulties. I'll be checking this every once in a while, okay? Hey, your video is paused. Help, Pablito. Hey, I'll just call us a Figma plugin. You will find different illustrations from different artists. Thank you so much for saying that. Okay, cool. So we have 3 cards. How pretty they're looking. Let's take a look at another one. Another one, this one is going to be using icons, like little icons actions, a button that is like full, 100% left to right, an image on the top, title, subtitle. Okay, so we have a lot of stuff that we can reuse. Let's go ahead and move this one over here. I'm thinking, how are we gonna do this? Yeah. Let's move that one over here. Let's move our image over here. And what else? We need icons and we need a button. So let's reuse this button over here. Let's just put it over here. You are so lazy, Pablo. You're just copying and pasting. Exactly. No shame in copying and pasting, as long as you do it in a concise way. Okay, cool. Let's do this. Fill in the container. Let's look at our sketch again. This is what we're trying to make. This card. So we have an image, title, subtitle, some icons, some actions, and then a button that goes full 100%. Can we do it? I think we can do it. Let's try it. Let's see it in the next chapter. I'm sorry. Okay, let's do this one. Instead of hugging the contents, let's say fill the container. Boom, it's already looking like that. But let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's go with the one that is called type 3. Again, I'm pulling all of this from this, I already created this little system. It's already available. In the description, there's a link. And you can just like download this if you want to. But I created different sizes on the buttons and different styles too. And all of these are variants. So there's level, disabled, primary, and secondary. And there's type 1, 2, 3. 1 being the smallest, 3 being the biggest, I think. Yeah. And that's it. You're going to say, Pablo, that's not very useful. I'm going to say, no, you are crazy. Let's change this to 0, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. So now everything is looking good. Let's add some coordinate radius around it. Let's clip the content, and that's why I was telling you. Look at that. One thing that is really cool about components is that if you're using auto layout, you can change the auto layout even when it's a component in an instance. So I can go here and actually, you know what? I think that it should be 12 pixels here and it should be 12 pixels here. A little bit bigger. I think that's good. And now one thing is missing here, which is the icons. But before adding that, let's add a background to our card. Let's add a white background from our ink. This is looking good. By the way, okay, I mean, the image is nice, Pablo, but we should change it to something else. Come on. So I'm going to open the Blush plugin. Actually, we don't even have to open it like that way. You can just click on the image and then look at this, edit with Blush. You press on that and it automatically just opens this and you can keep editing. I'm going to press randomize because again, I don't know if I told you already, but I'm a lazy person. And you could just click. Oh my God. How cool are these illustrations? Come on. Yeah, I'm liking this one. By the way, you can also change it to one of these compositions. For example, this one that is Martian. I'm going to leave it with that one. I'm pretty happy with this one. So label, title, I think, let's see what our thing is saying. Oh, no, the label should be below. Like this, and then now we want to add the little icons. So I have some icons that are already created. So I'm going to go to the assets and I'm going to open this thing called styles. And I'm going to paste, where is it? Oh, icons, here. Duh. Okay, so I can, yo. Go back, go to assets. Sorry, let's just start putting them over here. Let's say that you can take a photo, you can like, you can, I don't know, different actions that you can do. And maybe you can also send a message. Yeah, send a message. So I have different icons here. These are going to be actions. So I'm going to press Shift A to create an auto layout. I'm going to call these actions. And I'm going to add, I don't know, maybe 16 pixels for now. And actually, let's keep it an auto. And I'm going to show you why auto. So I'm going to press Command X, and I'm going to paste them inside the frame. And it puts them there. I want them to be here. And now, this is where the magic happens. Instead of fixed width, I wanted to fill the container. That's why I was saying that spacing should be auto. Before it was 16 pixels. So 16 pixels, they just keep aligned to the left. No, I want it to be distributed across the width of this. So that's why I'm using auto. Now, they're too close to the edges. So let's take a look at what I'm doing here. I'm doing 16. So I can just apply also 16 here. Let's see if 16 all around is good. That may be too much. So let's say that it's 8 on the top and 8 on the bottom. Okay, maybe on the bottom it should be 16. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe, let's say 0 here. Let's say 0 here. I know. You're going to say, Pablo, what are you doing? Hold on. Let me keep it here. And let me duplicate this and show you different ways of you doing this. Another way that we could have done this is by pressing 0 here. So no spacing. And then cutting this. Cutting this, Command X. and then going in here in this container, and then I'm going to paste it inside. And see, it has already, it is inheriting the spacing from this container. So that way I'm not doing a lot of padding around this. So all of this has its own padding. Now, I do want to separate this from this a little bit more. So I can add maybe 8 pixels on the top. And that's it. It's looking pretty nice. That is one way of doing it. If you like that way of doing it, you can do it that way and you will be fine. By the way, I'm going to change this to maybe a different color. See how easy it is with doing the selection colors? I love that functionality. So, okay, so now let's test it. Let's see if our text, if we add multiple lines, boom, it adapts. Beautiful, beautiful. Now let's see the same with the label. Is this happening with the label? Yeah. La 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 la, how beautiful it is. Okay, so I'm liking this. It's simpler, cleaner. So now it's 320. Let's call it cart 04. Yes, so let's see. Is my camera frozen again? Oh, it's not frozen anymore. That merits using these guys. Boom. Let's see if you're saying something in the comments. Thanks for the kit. Wow, auto layout is awesome. Yes, this is so great. Thank you. I'm so glad that you appreciate how dope it is. And hopefully you also get to create really organized files too. Because once you start creating stuff on auto layout, then you realize that, hey, I don't have to be messy anymore. There's no excuse anymore. You can just think in boxes and how the boxes are inside the boxes and how much spacing is between them. What is the padding around them? All of that mentality, will actually think of how things are built, because this might be built, whatever you're creating, in something closer to or something like maybe in Flexbox, or maybe something that works similar to Flexbox. So I will say that auto layout is pretty much Flexbox. Yes, not all the capabilities of Flexbox. I will say that it's just in a different way, but you enter that mentality anyway. Enough of my rant, Pablo. Enough of your rant. Let's go and do something different. And these are like cards. They're more like cells, like lists. So we're going to have an avatar, like an image on the left, then title, subtitle, and then an icon here. And then another one which has a button. And then another one has two icons. Once we create one, it's going to be really easy to create the other ones. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to use the Blush plugin. So let's see if we can use the Blush plugin, the collection called Tutorico. And I'm pretty sure there's an avatar. There's no avatar. Okay, so instead of avatars from Tutorico, I'm going to add the avatars, by the way. This is going to be really useful. I'm going to use these ones from Street Life. Street Life has these characters, and you can add heads. Look at these guys. They're so fun. So, and these ones are by an artist called Young. Let's keep it like that. And I'm going to make them maybe 32 pixels by 32. Yeah, around there. And I'm going to use these little guys again. Actually, let me use this. Command C. And then over here, let's do Command B. And apparently it didn't like it. So let's just paste it here. Over here, this is too big. This is too big. Let me actually just ungroup it and start again. Instead of a heading, I think we could use a paragraph, medium-sized paragraph maybe. And this label maybe should be below, around there. Maybe this one should be medium bold. There you go. I think I'm liking that. Now, let's look back at our design. It has an avatar, title, subtitle, and then an icon on the right. Easy peasy. So we have these two guys. Let's let's make them this size right now. Right now, like this. Now, how are you gonna do this? Okay, so how are we gonna do this? It's like this. We have a box, and then we have another box, and this box has two elements. This is what and then this is just one single box. This is another box, and these are going to be put in another little box. Let me just remove this. That's how it's going to be. Like these ones are going to be their own auto layout, and these ones are going to be their own auto layout. And I'm explaining it with boxes because somehow I think that's going to be easier to understand. So first, Shift A to create an auto layout between these two elements. Let's add 4 pixels between them, maybe 0 pixels. Let's go ahead and let's get crazy. 0 pixels. And now this one, it's also going to be its own auto layout. And why, you're going to say? That's why, because I want it to be like a round element. So I'm going to say Shift A. Now that it's Shift A, I'm going to say that it has 4 pixels around it, and it has a fill. It has maybe a white fill. You can apply your own color. Let's add a ton of corner radius. Now that it has a ton of corner radius, now it looks like an avatar, right? And I can add a stroke, maybe a light gray. And okay, now what we were saying before, let's press Shift A and create an auto layout between them. And now the spacing, I think 16 pixels between them is good. Now let's add some padding around them, and maybe 4 pixels around them should be good. Let's add a fill, like a white fill. Let's do a little dance because this is starting to look good. We're liking what we're looking at. So we have to celebrate. Always celebrate the little things that you do. It's because if not, who is going to celebrate it for you? Nobody's going to say, "Good job." It's okay to say to yourself, "Good job, Pablo. Good job," whatever your name is. Cool. So let's look at the design. This avatar lines icon, right? An action on the right. And that's why I just copy pasted an icon here. By the way, how cool is that? I just selected this and I pasted it, and boom, auto layout solved it for me. It just put it there. Now it's not, maybe you want, well, Pablo, it's not aligned to the center. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, we can actually just solve this by putting it like this. And now everything is center. Now the title here is center, this is center, and all is determined by the size of this, by the size of the biggest element and the space in between it, which we said it was going to be 4 pixels. And this one should also have 4 pixels here on the side. Beautiful. Qué precioso, hermosura. Now let's add a corner radius of maybe 8 pixels. Yeah. Now I'm liking this. Now, let's see what happens when I resize this. Not the best results, right? So, because we wanted this to adapt to different screen sizes, right? And we want this to be pinned to the right. So, what we can do is this, instead of hugging the contents on the width, we can say, yo, fill that container. It's filling the container and it's pushing the elements. The one on the left is pushing it to the left, and the one on the right, yo, go to the right, baby. And that's what it's doing. So it's magical, I'm telling you. But the elements inside are still not that size. What happens if, again, we have a long title? Well, that's not great, right? You want it to be to turn into 2 lines. So for that, we want to say that these two also have to be fill in the container. See? Now it adapts to the size of the text too. So this is a title. Let's go back to title. And let's say that it's 320, just as we're doing with other elements. 320. And you know what? I think the spacing on the sides, I think it could be better. I think it's too tight on the sides. I think it's okay in the top and the bottom. But here on the side, I'm like, oh, no. I need more padding. I'm getting a little bit anxious just by looking at this. So we just say here on the left and on the right, let's add 8 pixels. Look at how nice it looks now. It looks beautiful, beautiful. Let's say that this one is called cell 01. The laziest naming ever. Okay, I'm pretty happy with what we're doing, by the way. Let's call this avatar. Let's call this icon, by the way, because the idea is that you want to allow people to change it to whatever they want. But it's actually change it to menu. Change it to this one. And we already have this. Let's call it content and title and label and subtitle, maybe. Boom, baby. Boom, I'm telling you. Boom. And let's turn it into a component. Boom. And let's turn this one into a component too. Oh my God. Look at us. We're almost ready. We're almost half there. This one is going to be easy now. Now, you know what? Let's create a variant of this. What do you think? Let's create another one of this. And let's detach this. I'm going to say, detached instance. And on this one, instead of having a button, like an icon, we're going to have a button, okay? So, let's just select this one. Let's copy this button because, again, I am lazy. So, let's just put this button here and let's remove this. Look at that. We got it. And let's maybe say get or apply. The cool thing is that it will adapt. And then this one, let's turn it into a component. And now we want to turn these two into variants. So I'm going to combine as variants. Combine as variants. Now they are variants. And we want to say what is a property. So let's call it type. And let's call this one this one that is called cell 1 menu on right. CTA. Or let's call it overflow. I don't know. Maybe this is not the best way of doing this. And I should be. Some of you might make a better way. Multiple actions. Let's call this multiple actions. And now let's duplicate this. Boom, boom, boom. Let's change this to, instead of more, let's say that it has a love button, a like icon, and this one is a different icon. Let's say that it sends. So you can send a message, you can and do other stuff. Okay? So this is the one that is called multiple actions, and also the one that is called CTA. The cool thing about this is that now whenever I go and insert a component, this component, put it here, and now I can say, you know what, instead of the overflow, I want the one with the CTA. Or maybe I want the one with the multiple actions. Mamma mia, mamma mia. And now what's going on here? Is the spacing here good? I'm actually liking it. Yeah, the spacing is okay. So I was going to say that maybe this should be its own auto layout, but I'm liking it. I think the spacing between them of 8 pixels is okay. Anyway, now we even learned how to create variants, and now we did all of this. You could say that all of these could also be variants, but I don't know. I feel like it gets too complex when you do that, but I don't know. All of these could be combined into variants too. You know what? Combine as variants, and they're called cards. And cards. And now there's a type of card, like type. You know? And now they're all different cards. And now if I go ahead and go and insert one of the cards, I can just say, you know what? I want this one. Or no, let's go to number 4. But again, it would be better if you actually name this in a way that makes sense, you know? Full image or this one multiple actions, or this one simple, whatever. But or card 01, card 02, card 03, and it's just like a. But that doesn't make it really usable. So just be sure to name yours correctly. Okay. Now let's continue. Let's do a couple more and let's end it there because it's almost 1 hour. Let's do one that is typographic, just a little title here and just like a big title. And then this. We can actually, we're going to be able to reuse a lot of stuff now. Yeah, so let me ungroup this stuff. Yo, no. Detach instance, yo. Let me ungroup this. I don't want this. And we're going to see what we're going to do because we have avatar and this thing. So let's just reuse that stuff. Then we have a label and a big title. So let me just, I'm so lazy. And let's paste it here. Boom, baby. And now, well, we want it to be here on the top. Let's see what's going on here, by the way. Is my camera still on? Yeah, my camera's still on. Is everyone still there? Yo. Also, Figma apps are so sick and they could create auto HTML. I'm going to say good work, Paulo, every time I get something right. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. What is my computer setup? My computer setup is it's a MacBook 2017. MacBook Pro. And that's my setup. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and see what we're doing here. Again, big title, multiple lines. So, multiple lines. So let's do multiple lines in this title. Yo, what's up? Okay, I'm having too much fun with this. Now, let's put this all into one single auto layout, okay? So these two should be their own auto layout first. Shift A, I want to center them. Boom, just like that. And now I'm going to select this, and this, and I'm going to say Shift A again, and I'm going to say that the spacing between them should be 8 pixels. And let's add some padding around it, 16 pixels. Let's add a fill behind it. Let's add some corner radius. Mamma mia. Okay, so this is pretty dope, my friends. I don't know about you, but I'm liking this. I'm liking it a lot. Let's do more lines. These are more lines. How was your 2020? Pretty cool. Nope. Okay. Sorry. How was your 2020? That's, I think now it's not the best question to ask. But yeah, there were good things happening. Well, anyway, the cool thing is that now we can say that this should be, what's going on here? We don't like this, right? What's going on here? We're not a fan of this happening. What is happening here is this is a fixed width, and we actually want to be filling the container. Same with this. I want to be filling the container, and this one too. Yo, please, could you fill the container? And now let's say that it's at 240, and now it adapts. This is pretty cool, right? Now let's go to content reel. Let's put a lorem ipsum here or something. Let's put lorem ipsum short. There you go. This is another plugin that I really recommend. This is from Microsoft that is called lorem ipsum. And yo, what's going on here? This should be fill in container too. There you go. Sorry about that. Yeah, and it creates elements that you can just like, for example, this one, full name. This one could also be, I don't know, another full name, and this could be US full address. Why not? How cool is that? Just like whenever you want to create your elements to look a little bit more realistic, you can just go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's do another one. Yeah. Anyway, that is one. Pa, pa, pa. We made this and we made this. Let's do one last one. One last one. And we'll go. Let's do this one, okay? And this one is just going to be an avatar, some text, actions, like a CTA, and some actions in the bottom. So we're going to be reusing a lot of the stuff that we already made. So let me actually just put this one over here, and let's say that this one is aligned like this. And yeah, I'm really liking this. Hugging the contents. This one, what's going on here? Something weird is going on. Here, oh, hugging the contents. There you go. Something weird sometimes happens when you copy styles from one place to another. But don't worry, we fixed it. We have this, let's center align it. Let's see what's going on here. Again, we have an avatar, text, like a title, subtitle, CTA, and some actions. That's what we're doing, okay? So we have a title, subtitle. Let's add a CTA, another CTA. Let's add it from assets. Let's add a component. You have our component. Let's put it over here. And let's let's put it here inside the auto layout. Let's put it all the way to the bottom. Let's also add some actions. We already created this one, so we can just like copy and then paste it here. I love it when it just works and it just like does the magic for you. Okay, this one, I'm going to say that instead of hiding the contents, I'm going to say that it fills the container, okay? And let's add some padding around this, maybe 16 pixels. Let's add also 16 pixels here. Let's add a fill, a white fill. Beautiful. Now this one could be a little bit bigger, right? So let's just go inside. Instead of 32, let's say that it's let's say 48. No, what the hell? Let's lock this. So let's just keep going bigger. And I'm not liking the spacing now. I think that the spacing is too tight. So let's go with 8 pixels here. That's nice. Let's go to 16. 8 was okay. And let's open the Blush plugin and just change this little guy. Now, again, since this is a Blush image, I can just go ahead and edit it here. Just click that button, and then it opens all the variations that you can do. I can change to a goofy one. I can change it to this one that is called Determined. I love the name. This one that is crazy. I like the crazy one. And we can do a cloud because it's so crazy. And you can change the skin color too, like the color of this little element to something like this. Let's do that one. Or you can, again, press randomize. And that's it. Now I'm liking the one that is randomized. Okay, cool. So, and by the way, I actually want this one to be a little bit bigger. I think we can go with a heading. Let's go with a heading. Let's see. Oh my God, that's too big. Let's go with H4. H4, you know what? I'm realizing that H4 should potentially be 100 and 105%. 5%. There you go. Yeah, that looks nicer, you know? Yeah. So I went ahead and edited that. Instead of being in a fixed text line height, pixel line height, I put a percentage. Maybe 108%. Maybe it's too tight. There you go. Yeah, that's looking nice. See how it even changed here? That's really cool. So anyway, let's call this one. These ones, what are we gonna call these ones? Are we gonna call these cards also card, and also number, and maybe it should start from 5. Why? Because I want to put them here. So card and card. And let's say, can I just cut and paste inside here? Did it add it as another variation? I wonder if it did. By the way, we can add an auto layout here. Let's add an auto layout. Let's add some spacing between these elements. And let's see, so what happened? Is this, no. I want this to be card 6. And I want this to be card 5. So let's see, let's test it out. This is the first time I ever do this, just copy and paste into a variant. And let's say 5, boom, baby. Let's say 6, boom, baby. By the way, let me show you another plugin. This is really useful. Whenever you want to order elements, components in the canvas and sort them by, you can sort them by their name, by their X position. Let's just sort them by their name. And look at that, it sorted them by their name. So, well, now it's doing it like 1, 2, it's counting backwards. You cannot edit that, but that's so that's one way of doing it. But since this is auto layout, you can actually just do it really easily manually by just dragging and dropping. You know that this one is called card 5 and this one is called card 6. But yeah, that one is called plugin sort layers, and then you can sort layers by name, by X position. This is really useful sometimes when you want to organize your stuff. And let me delete this. We don't need this anymore. And I'm really happy with what we have done. I don't know about you, but I'm liking it. I am totally liking it. So, so we have styles, and we have inside styles, we have components. This is not the best way to organize it, I think. Maybe if we go to the layers, we go to styles, maybe this page should be over there. Anyway, I'm going to worry about that later. Let's go back to seeing all of you. Let's go to show what's happening here. There you go. Okay, cool. So just me. Thank you so much for joining. This was really cool, and hopefully you found this helpful. I'm going to update the link in the description, so you're going to see all these elements that we created. They're going to be live, and you can, you know what? I'm going to do it right now, even with all the mess, so you can download it and you can inspect it and you can improve it. At the end of the day, it's just a starting point for you to learn, for you to create your own new things, and you know what? Just to get started, you know. So hopefully you learn. Thank you so much for joining, and chef's kiss, mamma mia. Okay, bye bye. Okay, how do I stop this? End stream.